Hi, and welcome to the Brisbane Professionals Podcast. This is a podcast brought to you by SMS Law, going through the legal secrets that will benefit you and your clients, as well as having a little bit of fun as we go. This podcast is designed to educate you on, number one, complicated legal terms that we will explain in an easy to understand manner. Two, to understand why you do things from a legal perspective in your business. And three, to help you develop a plan for the future success of your business. Our mission is to help empower small to medium-sized businesses around the world to get access to legal advice so that they can help build their communities and make the world a better place. Did you know that any business owner is on average 7 months away from losing everything? That is the average time that it takes from a successful business to fold when an aspect of their business is not set up correctly. This podcast is all about empowering you and your business with knowledge and tools to ensure that that doesn't happen to you or to your clients. Let's begin, shall we?
Welcome to the Brisbane Professional podcast. My name is Craig Mason. I have with me, as always, Mr. Jeremy Stratton. Say hello to everyone, please, Jeremy.
Hello, everyone, and Mr. Craig Mason. Hope everyone's having an awesome day.
Thank you, kind sir. Today in the show, we wanted to talk about inducting a new employee. So it's a pretty important step. You've got the employee, you've picked someone. Now you need to induct them into your actual business, and a thorough induction process helps your new employee obviously know about the business, the workplace, and then obviously their role within it. So Jeremy, what's the first thing we wanted to talk about in terms of your induction process?
Yeah, so you want to really assess where you're currently, where your process currently is. So what are you doing now to induct your new team members? Most of the time when we ask that question, people kind of give us that blank look on their face when you ask that and they don't really have a process. But you want to have a look at your process that you have and look for what works and what doesn't work. So ask your team, what worked in that induction process? What did they like? What could be improved? And you can actually then assess what your induction process is. And if you don't have one actually written out, you do have a process that you follow. We all do. So actually, maybe write it out and document it. And again, ask your team members what they liked about the induction process and what they didn't like, and make changes where necessary. You don't have to make all the changes as suggested, but the big ones that actually resonate with you are important. So that's the first part. Craig, the second part.
Second part is about compliance. So as an employer, you as taking on an employee have some compliance things you need to provide, and that's taxation and superannuation. So there's forms you get a new employee to fill out to give you all those details. There's tax file number, whether or not they're claiming the tax-free threshold here in Australia. Those sorts of questions are on the form. You need to get them to fill all that out and give it back to you. So that needs to form part of your induction process in some way. One, giving them the forms, two, receiving the information back. And we'll talk in other shows about getting all this information, what you should then do with it. But it's important to get that information as part of your induction process. Jeremy, what else?
Next thing to think about is what are the employment conditions and workplace health and safety information. So depending on the type of business and where you are, there'll be different conditions that you've got to make sure that meet workplace health and safety requirements. And so you want to make sure that when you're bringing on and inducting the employee, that number one, you've set those all up properly, and number two, that they understand what their obligations are with all of the conditions and the information that they need to do. Because it's your responsibility to make sure you provide a safe working environment, but it's also incumbent upon them to understand what that actually means. So putting some work into that is super important. Craig, the last thing.
The last thing is about hours of work and rostering. So for obvious reasons, it's important that your employee is clear as to what hours of work they're working. So they show up at the right time and then they pack up their stuff and leave at the right time. So for obvious reasons, you need to tell them what the hours of work are, and also rostering. So depending on the type of business, you might have rosters, working 5 days, 2 days off, whatever it might be. Again, it's important to have that as part of the induction process so everyone knows not so what days they're working, but how the rostering system is going to work as well. So they notified a week in advance or whatever it might be. But all of that sort of rostering type stuff needs to be in the induction because you need to tell them at the beginning, not wait for them to ask a question and go about doing something that's not what you want. So important to give all this information at the beginning so they're all on the same page. They know about your business. You've told them the important things that they need to know. And then hopefully the employment works out rosy from there. So, Jeremy, that is all we had down for inducting new employees. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on for today's show?
Other than just making sure that you follow these steps and that your clients follow these steps, it's really easy just to bring on an employee without going through a proper process. And when we see that happen, that's when we see people have problems. So, it might seem a little bit mundane, but this will help to really strengthen those employee-employer relationships moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Stronger team is what you want. So great. That's it for us today. Thank you for joining us. If you would like, and we would very much appreciate it, jump on and like and review the podcast. Like SMS Law on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and connect. Search for us on LinkedIn, connect through that. As we say, we do share other information outside of the podcast with our community, other important information or jokes or whatever it might be. So please get involved. And if you've got any questions, please reach out and get in touch with us as well, or a suggestion for a show. We're more than open for ideas. So thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.